This isn't just another fight, it's a career-defining moment for the 20-year-old sensation. Moses Itauma undefeated with 12 wins and 10 knockouts. He's already shaking up the heavyweight division, but this will be his ultimate test. Facing him is Dillian Whyte, a battle-hardened veteran, renowned for his raw power and relentless style. Yet after recent setbacks and lackluster performances, the question on everyone's mind is, does Whyte still have what it takes to dominate at the top?
Itauma.
Dillian Whyte is looking lean. I like what I'm seeing from Dillian Whyte. It's making me actually think about things. My perception originally of this fight was Dillian Whyte based upon what we've seen in his last two, where he's looked slow, fleshy, and just not interested. Man's looking interested in recent clips.
He knows he's been sent over there, lamb to the slaughter.
Yep.
And it's like, they think this little kid's gonna just ice me. No. That's exactly it, right? Yeah. So he must, and because of who he is, Dillian Whyte's a road man.
Yeah.
He must hear this. Forget the boxing side of things. Like, this is gonna sound so stupid, yeah? If you are a bit of a bad boy on the road, yeah, and you're 37,
yeah,
you think you're accepting walking past a bunch of 21-year-olds and one of those 21-year-olds calls you out to a fight that you're gonna duck and run. So he's probably looking at Moses. He's not even looking at it from a boxing point of view. He's looking at it from a man to kid point of view. Like, you're a kid.
For some time, Dillian Whyte has appeared to be on the decline, especially after his 2022 loss to Tyson Fury, where he clearly wasn't at his peak. He's been matched against opponents far below the elite heavyweight level, and fans, along with analysts, are openly questioning if his best days are behind him. Many predict this upcoming clash could very well be the fight that signals the end of his career, with several boxing insiders warning it might be a short night for Whyte Pass, as the young, hungry challenger Atama looks ready to dismantle the veteran with shocking speed.
Obviously, it's a must-win fight, and obviously, I'm going up against the next Mike Tyson, as in, he's been compared to Mike Tyson and a lot of great fighters. I mean, I'm just little old me. I never been compared to a journeyman in a great era. He's been compared to Mike Tyson.
Shawn Porter has openly voiced serious concerns about Whyte's health, warning that while he's a classic heavyweight with massive punches and devastating hooks, at this stage in his career, absorbing hits like that could be dangerous. At 37, Whyte is taking shots from powerful heavyweights that could have long-term consequences. And Porter, who retired in 2021 after a tough loss to Terence Crawford, believes the British fighter should have stepped away much earlier. Worries aren't personal. They stem from genuine concern for Whyte's well-being after years of grueling battles in the ring.
There's absolute validity to that fight. If Moses goes in and does a number on Dillian Whyte, then you can't hold him back, and you're not going to hold him back. And neither one fighter is disadvantaged or advantaged in that. Neither one of them is a champion. They're both fighting for a belt, so there's huge validity in that fight for Moses Itauma to be a world champion, or to Joseph Parker to gain back a world title. Having been a world title once holder himself. I think it's a great fight. But it'll be fascinating to see how Moses goes against Dillian. I don't think they put him in against Dillian Whyte if they think there's real jeopody for them. I think they might get a few rounds and get asked a few more questions than possibly they've been asked by Marius Wack and Dempsey McKean. But I don't think they think much more than that. And I'm surprised at Dillian taking the fight.
I think very quickly, I think that we find out about Moses Itauma and whether he's at that level right now in Saudi Arabia, and that determines whether he boxes for that WBO title or whether he doesn't, whether he's not quite ready, and I think that's where we're at with it.
Yet, many analysts, including some of Whyte's former rivals and coaches, are openly doubting his chances. Derek Chisora doesn't just predict Atama will win. He insists it will be a decisive, almost brutal victory, so one-sided that authorities might have to step in to stop the young fighter's domination. Chisora is adamant. Whyte's era is over, and Atama is the unstoppable.
At this fight against Atama, and it's basically that fight to position him. You knock off this guy who was there, and it's like the next step is only the tippy top.
If he gets past him, who would y'all not the tippy top, who would you throw him in there with?
Shit.
Just over.
Yeah, I'm like, does that get you a Usyk fight?
Beating Whyte? I mean, technically, they could do it. He is
the
#1 ranked WBO challenger. Parker is ahead of him. Parker is the interim WBO champion.
Right.
What if you fight my man that just lost him, Dubois?
That's a good fight. That's a good fight. I think Itauma, the big problem for Whyte in this fight is going to be speed, just to make it simple. But two things for Moses Itauma, who I said a couple months ago here on the show, the hype is real. The hype is deserved. And I definitely stand by that. But young fighters have to be careful with their hubris. It's a very thin line. You have to be extremely confident to believe you can knock out every other man on the planet that's your size. and yet at the same time not overconfident, not to be filled with too much hubris before you've proven yourself. And so Itauma, we have to worry about that with him, and the same problem that Jared Anderson had, leaving his chin.
And it's not just the former fighters sounding the alarm. Mark Tibbs, who once trained Whyte, is now raising serious red flags. Despite their history, Tibbs insists that Atama is simply on another level, faster, stronger, more At this stage, Whyte might not be able to handle it. Dave Allen, another heavyweight familiar with Whyte's power, agrees. Even though he lost to Whyte back in 2016 and respects his punching ability, Allen warns that this is the wrong fight. For him now, Atama isn't just a challenge, he could be the career-defining storm Whyte wasn't ready for.
Some kind of light at the end of the tunnel for Dillian taking that fight.
Ain't no light at the end of that tunnel.
I agree with you. I think I don't think Dillian gets beyond 4 or 5 rounds.
You're crazy. Yeah. There's no light at that tunnel. Not kiddies. No, you mad. No way. Even Lawrence Okoli said Moses is bad.
I don't think they put him in against Dillian Whyte if they think there's real jeopardy for them. I think they might get a few rounds and get asked a few more questions than possibly they've been asked by Marius Wack and Dempsey McKean. But I don't think they think much more than that. And I'm surprised at Dillian taking the fight.
I think just the young gun, man. Look, he's on a roll. Look, Dillian Whyte in his day was good. Not saying that he's not good, but Dillian Whyte was Dillian Whyte, you know what I'm saying? But
is Dillian still capable of causing an upset, what people would see as an upset against Moses?
I mean, look, Moses is super sharp, man. I don't see an upset coming, you know, I'll be real with you. He's super sharp.
I think he's a very neat, tidy boxer. Moses clearly punches hard. Fastest hands in the heavyweight division, I think. I think it could be an early.
Carl Frampton is sounding off, too. Completely sold on Atama's rising dominance. He's raving about the young heavyweight's precision, his lightning-fast hand speed, calling it some of the quickest in the entire division. Frampton isn't holding back. He predicts Atama could end this fight in the opening rounds, a knockout that leaves no questions. Shane McQuiggan, a top-tier trainer in the boxing world, shares the same conviction. He respects Whyte's legendary toughness, but even he admits this matchup is brutal for the veteran. Atama's talent is just too sharp, too explosive. This isn't a fight. It's a storm, and Whyte might be standing right in its path.
To be fair, like, I had 11 fights with Dillian. We got to world #1, and so I know Dillian really, really well. I don't like that fight for him. I never thought it'd be a step up for someone. He won't like me saying that. It's just my emotional investment that was in him. But you know, he's done very well, Dillian, and he deserves a big payday. I'm sure. I'm hoping he's getting that. Listen, he's got the experience to upset the apple cart, Dillian. He has, but what's his name? Who's he fighting?
Moses Itauma.
Moses, I beg your pardon. Moses is a serious, responsive operator, and man can pick his punches well. So, yeah, obviously Moses is the favourite for me in that fight. But you know, I like to see someone like Dillian with that art and that mindset and his character.
But hold on, this isn't a guaranteed walk in the park for Atama Tyson. Fury has thrown a chilling warning. Underestimating Dillian Whyte could be a huge mistake. Fury, famed for his sharp instincts and deep knowledge of the sport, even compared this bout to the shocking upset last year when Jared Anderson fell to Martin Bakole. The message is clear: Whyte still has tricks up his sleeve, and one wrong move could turn the fight upside down. Fans are in for a roller coaster.
I think it's good night, Mr. Whyte.
Yeah, but I mean, do you think that the matchmaking's great for him?
Not for Dillian, I don't know. I think it's great for Moses because ultimately he gets a decent name like Dillian Whyte on his resume, which isn't the Dillian Whyte that was fighting 2 or 3 years ago. If he blasts him out, which I think he will, then Moses, the mythology around Moses just gets bigger and wider and more bankable.
There'll be a bit of hype around the fight as well, which will raise Moses' profile too.
Yeah. Another question for you then. So if you say it's not good matchmaking for Dillian Whyte, where would you put Dillian Whyte then? That's what I'm saying. Like, what opportunity is going to come from?
Well, the last time I opened my mouth about Whyte, I put him in with Fabio Wardley and got smacked around everybody for being a bit of a tit. So I'm not even going to answer that question. Thanks very much.
Brilliant.
How do you see it in the event that this fight is made, which we all think it will be? I do think it will be Moses Itauma. Yeah. I do think that he will go through Dillian, and I think he'll go through him compellingly. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm with you.
You think the same?
I just think that timing is key in boxing. Dillian Whyte's been a great ambassador for the sport. I don't think he's the fighter he once was, and I think that Moses Itauma is something special, and I think he wins and wins quite comfortably.
Yeah, I agree with you, Spencer, and I think it could be early as well. I think he's a very neat, tidy boxer. Moses clearly punches hard, fastest hands in the heavyweight division. I think. I think it could be an early.
Frank Warren has sounded the alarm as well. He admits Atama packs serious knockout power, but here's the catch. His chin has never faced a heavyweight like Dillian Whyte. Early career dominance looks impressive on paper, but Warren warns this fight could expose cracks, testing Atama's resilience under real pressure. If the bout drags into the later rounds, fans might witness sides of Atama no one has seen before. In truth, this clash is a double-edged saga, a proving ground for Atama's raw potential and perhaps Whyte's final shot at glory before his legacy fades.
Not ready for Alexander Usyk in any way, shape or form. A man who hasn't been past 6 or 7. I think the division isn't that strong when it comes to the amount of ability that he has. I don't think anyone else has that amount of actual ability. What he lacks in experience, he makes up for in clear ability.
Do you think Warren would put him in for a world title shot within a year?
Put him in with Dillian Whyte next. Tells you everything you need to know, because Dillian has beat the likes of Joseph Parker. Dillian has beaten almost all the top heavyweights. So to throw him in with Dillian Whyte, and we haven't seen, even though Dillian isn't at that same level when he beat Joseph Parker, no one's still done him. He's still virtually, I haven't seen him beat for quite a long time. So the matchmaking tells you all you need to know. When he's matched with Dillian Whyte next out, I think that tells you all you need to know, in my opinion. So I expect him to be from Dillian Whyte. But you've got to look at it. What's the next step after Dillian Whyte?
I think a few more like that.
Yeah, but who is there? So he goes Dillian Whyte, who does he go next? Joseph Parker? I just think they let him off the leash. He's not ready, don't get me wrong, he's not ready for Alexander Usyk in any way, shape or form. A man who hasn't been past 6 or 7 rounds cannot be ready for Alexander.
This is more than a fight, it's a battle for legacy. Filip Hrgović weighs in, and his take will make your jaw drop. While he respects Atama's skill, Hrgović warns Dillian Whyte could drag the young challenger into uncharted, deep waters. Whyte's toughness, his ability to absorb punishment and keep coming back, is legendary. Atama hasn't faced anyone with this kind of grit, this level of durability. If Whyte executes his game plan perfectly and enters the ring in peak shape, the scales could tip, forcing Atama into a battle of attrition he's never experienced. Hrgović isn't alone. Experts are buzzing about the same thing. They say it's not just about stamina, it's about mental steel, stickability, and who Atama faced in the amateur ranks. Every punch, every round, could reveal cracks or cement greatness. This fight is a crossroads for both warriors. For Moses Itauma, a victory would announce him as one of the brightest stars in the heavyweight, a division of fighter who can truly hang with the best. For Dillian Whyte, this may be one of the last opportunities to prove he still belongs at the top. One wrong move, one miscalculated moment, and his career could be over. As the countdown to the fight ticks away, the tension is electric. Will Moses Atama rise to the hype and dominate the future of heavyweight boxing, or will Dillian Whyte show that experience still rules? Fans are on the edge of their seats, and the world is about to witness a clash that could rewrite both of their legacies. Who will walk out victorious and who will be left questioning everything?
Good fight, actually, especially for Moses. I think it's a very good time to fight Dillian. He's had a couple of years out of the ring, but you know, make no mistakes, Dillian Whyte is a massive puncher.
What is your forecast for this fight?
I think he's going to be in a tough fight. I know he's got the punch power to hurt and stop Dillian Whyte, but I also know that Dillian Whyte also has the punch power to cause damage. And the one thing with Moses at the moment is that's not been tested. So we'll see.
But do you think are you still a tough fight? But you expect him to stop him?
I expect him. I believe he will win the fight. I believe he'll win the fight. How he wins it, we'll see. For me, beating him is a big thing. Right. However he does it, you know, and I want to see the other side of him as well. I want to see him. You know, I want to see him in a tough 12-round fight where he comes through it and boxes his way through it. You know, he's not a one-trick pony. He can box, but as I say, you know, this is a tough one. This is going to be. This is a fan's fight.
Yeah, it's a great fight.
That's what it is. It is a fan.
Here's how Dillian Whyte wins against Moses Itauma. Filip Hrgović has told us. Filip Hrgović has a point in this. It's interesting because Boxing News 24 has reported that he's talked about Moses Itauma's not stamina so much, but stickability. And he's talked about who has he fought in the amateur rank.
The boxing world is on edge, holding its breath, as the young powerhouse Moses Atama readies himself to face the seasoned veteran, Dillian Whyte, in a showdown that could change everything.